time for our social blog, and this morning we're looking at the issue of paramedics. Now, I believe about 5 years ago they were complaining that a lot of people were calling them prank calls. Also, there was abuse of sirens and a whole lot of other problems. We find out if things have improved 5 years on, and Benny's standing by to bring us that interview.
All right, thank you very much for that, Sandra. And yes, as Sandra said, 5 years ago there was a serious issue with the prank calling of the paramedics. Paramedics, if you didn't actually know this already, make a serious difference in saving people's lives, and actually have also some small interventions that they actually do from their own care of their hearts as well. Wendy Lai reports on this.
Give first aid and pre-hospital treatment. After getting to their designated service stations and logging in for the day, the paramedic inspects his ambulance equipment, which includes a BP apparatus and a trolley. The ambulance is warmed up and checked to ensure it is in good condition for the day. The dispatch center radios into the ambulance station if their services are needed.
Hello, good morning. This is National Ambulance Service. How may I help you?
I'm wondering, I think you have to consider my brother to hospital.
What happened to him?
Oh, it's I don't know. He cannot talk at all. So,
Please, where are you calling from? Can you please give me your callback number?
244.
Yeah, the ambulance will be there with you soon. Ambulatory, proceed to Enterprise Insurance, High Street for an emergency. Over.
We followed EMT Lawrence Okaja and his crew as they rushed out of the station. Weaving in and out of traffic on the Jamestown Road, they managed to get to the scene of the distress call. A man we shall call Sammy complained of feeling dizzy and weak. The paramedics administered a procedure called the initial and detailed assessment of the situation, took his temperature, and tried to gather his medical history to determine what may be making him ill. After Sammy was strapped into the ambulance headed for the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. But the ongoing assessment continued. EMTs administered oxygen to Sammy because his health was deteriorating. Despite the traffic and disregard for the siren, the ambulance got to the hospital. EMT Lawrence Okaja has been in the service for 5 years.
The handling of the patients, at times by the time we get that the way they've been handled may have deteriorated the condition of the patient. I'll appeal to the public that when we come around to pick patients like this, they should allow us to do our job.
There are 3 levels of paramedic training, which include EMT intermediate, but the Ghanaian paramedics only have the basics, where they can only administer basic life support. The director of the National Ambulance Service, Dr. Ahmed Nuhu Zakaria, admitted ideally the EMT skills and knowledge should be upgraded, but funding for the service is a major problem. He added, if the ambulance service is properly equipped, mortality rate would be reduced.
All right, so that was actually a report from Portia Solomon, so thank you there for that. And with me in the studio today, I have Mr. Emmanuel Agbewole. He is a facilitator and he's also a training coordinator at the Paramedic and Emergency Care Training School. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm fine.
Good. Okay, so we were both watching the video. We saw what was happening a little while ago. Within the 5 years, the amount of prank calls and the rest that you're having, issues with traffic and your vehicles also. Has the situation changed in any way?
Okay, there has been a change, but the change is not astronomical.
Okay.
It has been incremental, in that people are still calling the line, making all sort of jokes online.
So you're still getting prank calls?
Definitely, yes.
Okay. Give us some insight. Give us some examples of some of the phone calls that you actually get that waste your time.
Okay. I once worked as a dispatcher, and I was in the office one day. Even one lady called from one of our universities and was just making fun of me. So I kind of threatened her that I'm going to get national security involved to pick her up.
Yeah.
Then she gave up. And another one too, a guy called in, was asking if we would like us to teach, will allow us to be taught how to do Sakawa.
Sakawa.
Yeah, I was like, Sakawa for what? And you kind of cut the line. You call again.
Just call back.
You put the line down. He calls back. So in that sense, if a real caller is calling, you might not know that this is somebody who needs care.
Yeah.
So you kind of do away with the line and something different happens.
Wow.
Like an incident happened in Tamale. A guy was joking with the line. That's a fire service line. And the lady kind of received, it's a prank call, and the lady stopped picking the calls. But Tamale Government Hospital was burning.
Wow.
They were calling, and the lady thought it was that guy who was still joking.
Okay. Oh, that's very, very serious. Okay, now that answers the question about the prank calls. What about traffic, commuting? Are you finding that people are actually moving out of the way for paramedics and ambulances now, or is it still the same thing where they just don't care? They're just doing everything for themselves.
Okay, like I earlier said, there is a change.
There is. Okay.
It isn't like first. At first, people don't know the use of the ambulance.
Okay.
They can't really differentiate between hairs and the ambulance.
Okay.
So when you are coming there, like this man is carrying maybe a body or something,
right,
and giving you chance to go is a problem. But now it's improving, and these guys are also doing really well on the road. The hawkers, I'm not supporting them though, but when they hear the siren, you see them going back,
right,
and then telling the drivers to pave way. Time you see people dressed in their suits and their behavior on the steering wheel is quite different. So you see them going back, even telling them, like, are you not normal? Can't you hear the siren coming and you are still in the middle of the road? Give chance for the
Do you think there's been enough education in regards to what the general public should be doing in treating the paramedic services properly?
I would say education is meager, scanty.
Right.
We are yet to do more. We need to do more, because when you are looking at the whole of Ghana, the percentage who are in the known of the ambulance service and our services and what to do at what time is small.
Okay. Now, we just talked about traffic, and some, like we said, some people will not move out of the way, but you can't blame them, because in the past there was a lot of abuse of sirens, both from the police as well as the ambulance services, and like you said, some hearses as well. So the general person, if they're in the car and they hear the siren, they just think it's somebody trying to get through traffic. Do you think that the abuse of sirens is still high, and that there are still people abusing them?
Okay, on the side of the agencies of government, that's the police, fire service, ambulance service, the military and stuff, we do use the siren, but as to the abuse, I would say it's minimal as compared to the hearses, because if somebody is dead and you are going to bury the person, what are you in a hurry for?
What's the rush? Yeah,
what's the rush for? So if somebody is sick or injured and the person is being rushed to the hospital with a siren, and the dead body is also being rushed with a siren, then what are we painting?
Right. Okay. In the video, we saw the gentleman saying that he doesn't believe that the paramedics are trained well enough, or maybe an upgrade in the training is required at this moment in time. Do you believe the same thing? Do you think that you need more training? Okay.
The training is in 3 stages: the basic, the advanced, and then the paramedic level.
Okay.
So by then, the system was operating at the basic level, but now God being so good, we've upgraded to the advanced level.
Okay.
Yes, which comes with intubation, IV line, and then some drug administration as well.
Okay. I've had the pleasure of sitting in one of these ambulances just to see the equipment and the rest of it. Do you believe, somebody who's been trained as yourself, that they're fully equipped for you to be able to do your job properly?
As in training wise or equipment?
No,
wise?
Equipment in the vehicles.
Okay, for the basic stage, fine. And the advanced stage, we have equipment for intubation and stuff. Every level comes with a particular kind of ambulance.
Yeah.
So for the ambulances we have now, can do the basic stuff, the advanced stuff, but not the paramedic stuff.
Okay. And is there anything that you believe that you've missed out in training, or anything that should be added to the paramedic training at this point in time?
Okay. During our time, we had doctors training us, and it went well though, but it isn't like a paramedic training somebody to become a paramedic.
Okay.
Because the doctor is in there in the hospital, the cases come in and they take care of the cases.
Right.
But here lies the case: the paramedic goes on the streets, goes into the homes, and he's the first point of call. So the kind of information is going to divulge to the trainees is different from the one, not all that different, but examples might differ.
Right.
So now what we did was, paramedics are now being trained. So now when you go to the paramedic and emergency care training school, I'll say 99% of the trainers are paramedics.
Okay.
And it's going well than before.
All right. Do you believe first aid is an option? Because typically in Ghana, when we have a big accident or something immediately happens, general public gets involved. They start moving people. They start, lifting people, putting them into cars, sending them to hospitals. And I don't know if correct me if I'm wrong, but this could further hurt some of these patients or these people who have been in the accidents. Do you believe that more first aid training is required for the general public so that we know?
Okay. First aid is not an option. First aid is something we all have to know.
Okay.
Before I even came in, I was asking one of your staff that should somebody develop a cardiorespiratory arrest, a situation whereby a staff was like, my heart, and goes down, and it's not breathing and has no pulse. What will you do? Then she said, I'll rush the person to the hospital. Such a person can only live for 10 minutes. Nothing can be done again.
Right.
So if you don't do anything for that 10 minutes, then the person is as good as nothing. So first aid tells you what to do at what point in time. People normally collapse, and you see people coming out shouting, Obimbro, water being poured on the person. Meanwhile, you can be there and do something, and even activate an emergency line. So whilst you're giving care, first aid, there is a help coming in the form of an ambulance coming to take over from where you started, and you can see what is happening in town. People dying of heart attacks.
So you would say it's not an option; it's a necessity.
It's a necessity.
We all need to know some form of first aid.
Definitely.
Okay. Well, now, what would you say apart from, with the prank phone calls we've dealt with, the traffic we've dealt with, and first aid? What are some of the other challenges that paramedics are facing right now, which, if we had the chance to wave a magic wand, we would try and erase and help you to do your jobs better?
Okay. Aside the prank calls and aside the traffic situation, one of the situations to the no bed syndrome.
No bed syndrome.
Yeah, you cannot pick a case and you comb all the hospitals and
there's no
bed. So you have to bring the patient back to the place you took that patient.
So what happens to the patient in that circumstance? You have to drop them off?
Definitely, because you can keep the person roaming in the ambulance. And I can take into reminiscence an occasion. I went for a case at Temajan Hospital. A policeman that had a motor accident, developed a head injury. So we need to get a specialist to handle that. We came to 37. The specialist was not there. Went to Kolebu, no specialist. Police hospital, no. We went to Senate hospital. All over.
Nothing.
And nothing. So we had to bring the patient back. So at dawn, we had the patient passed away.
Wow. Okay. Well, on that solemn note, I would say that we would try our best to, make these things aware to the powers that be to assist you as much as possible. Because even if we have the first aid and we have paramedics like yourself, if we have no beds to take them to, then we have these situations. So very sad. But I want to thank you for coming in this morning, Emmanuel Agbowili. He is the facilitator and training coordinator at the Paramedic and Emergency Care Training School. And remember, do you even know your emergency numbers? 191 for police, 192 for the fire service, 193 for the paramedics. Remember those numbers. It's always essential. We'll be back in just a moment.